Here's a piece from some sales analysis code that has been causing trouble ever since it was written. At a casual glance, it looks harmless enough, but it's typical of the rest of the code in this program, a program that hasn't worked right since the programmer quit 2 years ago. Let's try to read it critically to see where the troubles are.
How can we read it? We don't know that language.
Good point. Since this language is a mixture of COBOL and PL1 and several other languages, we're using this blended language to show that principles of well-structured programming are not language dependent and that reading programs is so much easier than writing them.
You're right, I can read it. There's nothing there I really don't understand.
Excellent. Then perhaps you can tell us what this code does.
Well, how should I know? Sure, I can read the language, but how can I understand unless you tell me what the names stand for?
Then you can't really read it, can you? By read, we mean read and understand. This is the first and perhaps most important principle of well-structured programming. Remember what we're trying to learn to do. We want to write correct programs, and we want to be able to modify them without going bankrupt. How can we do that if we don't understand them? It's probably the program that's at fault, not you. A good way to start reading a program we don't understand is the way you suggested. Try to figure out what the names mean. Try to guess just to get started.
Retails, retains, retaliates, retracts. Return. It might mean returns, but that's only a guess.
It happens to be a good guess. But why should we have to guess? What could the programmer have done to make this program better structured, less guessing for us?
He could have called it returns like this.
And probably he meant the OR in ORFL and BKOR to mean orders, since this is a sales analysis.
Very good guessing. You see, even in a full program, a little bit of consistency gives us a good clue. We assume he meant the same thing by OR in both places. At least we hope he was consistent.
But he wasn't that consistent. First there was ORFL, then BKOR. He should have used ORFL for filled orders, I suppose, and BKOR, probably for backup.
You're beginning to learn how to read critically. Mysterious symbols like ORFL are just not understandable. Maybe we can't always use natural symbols, but I'll bet you can beat these symbols.
But what is natural?
One good way of telling is by listening to how we talk. A little while ago, you said filled orders and back orders. So why don't we use those terms? Why?
It's getting easier to understand, but I still don't understand the whole thing. RR is a complete mystery to me.
RR?
Sometimes, when we can't get it right away, try adding some structure.
What do you mean, add some structure?
For example, parentheses give structure. Let's take that part in parentheses as though it were a separate structure.
I get it. That's net orders. The difference between the orders they got and the stuff that was returned.
Right. The programmer could have simplified our job in understanding this formula by introducing as an extra structure net order. How's that?
Better. RR is the percentage of returns. Maybe it stood for returns ratio.
Excellent, but slow down. Why are we restructuring this code anyway?
Because it's bad, that's why.
So then, why should we be misled? Returns ratio isn't all that bad, but isn't it more natural to say?
Percentage of return.
Better, but we're in no hurry.